Yeah. So thank you everybody for joining us today. We're really excited about today's topic. Jessie Coffey has generously given us a little more of her time. She's an awesome after school partner and she's with the Nebraska Department of Ed. I'll let her tell a little more about her work. But on behalf of the after school conference partners, it's my pleasure to welcome all of you today. The conference partners include Nebraska Extension, and the 21st Century Community Learning Center after school programs, Nebraska Department of Education, Beyond School Bells, and Click to Science PD. So it's my pleasure to welcome you. And Jessie, thank you. I'm going to let you take it away.
All right. Welcome, everyone. I'm glad to be here. I have been at the NDE for about 4 years and get to be in the same office as the lovely ladies in the 21st Century program. So after school is near and dear to my heart. I worked at LPS for 13 years, and I think it was 12 out of the 13 years I offered after school programming at schools across the district. Gina just joined I worked at Lakeview with Gina, and I did a lot of cooking programs with kids either before or after school. We also did nutrition and fitness clubs. Sometimes we even got teachers involved in helping lead all that. I did farm to school, gardening work, lots of different opportunities for the after school kiddos, and really enjoyed. I think I worked at 7 different schools in like a continuous manner, and just really liked the opportunity to see. It really helped me understand that if you've seen, like Jan likes to say, if you've seen one after school program in LPS, you've seen one after school program, because everybody was very unique. So that was really helpful as we move forward. So today we're going to talk a little bit about the importance of social emotional learning in the after school setting. And I like this slide a lot because it talks about all the importance of the academic pieces, which we know are very important, and that's why kids are in school, and oftentimes why principals stress academics in the out-of-school time setting. But we also know that social emotional skills and managing emotions, conflict resolution, handling stress, and all of those skills are just as important as the academic pieces, because if they can't do those things, then they're not going to be career or college ready students. So these are already core to the work that you do in the after school setting, is instilling some of these skills within students, and even probably some of the college students that work in your program as well. So when we talk about social emotional learning, I just like to always start with grounding what that actually means. It's really a set of skills that help students understand and realize their self-awareness, self-management, responsible decision-making, relationship skills, and then have that additional social awareness. And those components are what make up social emotional learning. And I guess the evidence around social emotional learning continues to really has advanced through the pandemic, and we know that they're all important skills now more than ever, as we have such a diverse sort of starting point for students as they come to our programs. They've all been either through a tremendous amount or maybe not so much, and then really working on those empathy pieces. And so you can also see that this is the Castles model for SEL. When they look at that, it really includes the out-of-school setting. So the communities, the family and caregivers, which are, again, many of you are community organizations, and then have a huge component of your program that includes caregiver and family engagement pieces. So then, and again, building on those authentic partnerships and aligned learning opportunities. So again, the things you're already doing. So in the chat, if you would just participate in this question, which skills do you see students struggling to master the most? Out of the ones here, the self-awareness, self-management, responsible decision-making in your programs. What are like, if you've been a program leader for the past few years, Pat said anger. So some of that self-management piece. Self-management, self-awareness, social awareness. Yeah, I just actually read an article the other day that talked about kindergartners, or not kindergartners, preschool students are coming to school and they're really not able to pick up on like facial, I guess not facial recognition, but like when someone makes like a sad face or an upset face, like that, it's not resonating with them what that actually means. So self-management, relationship skills, they're definitely all interrelated. Thank you. Yeah, self-management. And so really what we're here today to talk a little bit about the creating a calming corner, which is a goal of the calming corner is to help with that self-awareness and emotional regulation. And the calming spaces give students an opportunity to identify their feelings, and it gives them permission to have a timeout instead of being put in one by someone else. So that's what's really great about that. And we know that survival and emotional data always have priority over cognitive processing. So if baseline they're in that survival mode, then there's just not a lot of other things that they can process. So just really underscoring the importance of including SEL. And then I don't think I clicked on, I'm gonna have to stop share because I don't think I clicked on the sound button. So I will just reshare. So this video also takes into consideration the importance of social emotional learning for our students, but all the staff that work in our programs too. And you can hear this, right?
Jessie, we hear the video, but we don't see the video.
Oh, okay. Well,
thanks, Lauren.
That's important because it is all words on the screen with a little bit of music. So
but we heard lovely music.
We will begin again.
Okay,
Can you see it now?
Yeah.
So that is a little overview of the reason why you all are interested in promoting and supporting and educating students about social emotional skills. We all know that everyone comes from different experiences, and so making sure that everyone understands that your experiences and other people's, and having the again that perspective taking, which is a big part of SEL. So we also know there's a lot of new mental health data out there. So there's the ACEs, the Adverse Childhood Experiences Information Survey. We know that there's a lot of information data that has been captured about toxic stress, which is that repeat and chronic exposure over time. And then the trauma, those experiences of an actual or perceived or threatening negative event. And so all of those experiences, including COVID-19, are lead up to sort of the mental health challenges that we're experiencing right now and that you're likely seeing in your programs as well. And so this is the latest mental health data for mental health first aid. May is Mental Health Awareness Month. And so it's not only older students. We know that 1 in 5 children ages 3 to 18 have a serious mental illness. Suicide is the third leading cause of death in youth ages 10 to 24. And in Nebraska, we've seen the suicide rates go up really continuously since about 2018, or then we had a small decrease. So again, these are all things that we have to consider as we work with youth in our after school programs, as you're there to help support them, both achieving educational outcomes, but also to really, gain some of those SEL skills. So our counseling specialist at the NDE always likes to point out too that not everybody is having challenges. And so it's really more about educating those students about that other kids are and how to react and support. So I think that's a beneficial consideration as well. I know when I started my first job, which was at F Street Recreation Center, which is in like the downtown of Lincoln, I did some nutrition and physical activity programs, and a kid came to me. We were doing summer feeding that summer, and a kiddo came up to me. It was a Monday morning, and he said, "I didn't have any food to eat all weekend." And I thought, why would your mom not make you anything to eat? And the more we talked about it, I was like, oh, it's not that your mom was like lazy or not present, but really truly like there was not food in the home to be made. And so it's those kinds of things, the perspective taking and sharing, that helps everyone understand others' experiences differently. So the benefits of SEL and the after school program, which you're all familiar with, because these are really a lot of, again, some of your core goals of leading your program work: improved academic performance, lead SEL skills have a lasting effect on students' either relationship skills or problem solving skills in the future, improve self-confidence and positive attitudes towards school and school staff. And then those programs that support SEL help to reduce teen pregnancy and then other risky behaviors, so alcohol, drugs, and things like that. And then these are, again, your 21st century employer seeking skills. So this is the things that our employers are saying they want. Those communication, the teamwork, leadership, critical thinking, and then that cognitive flexibility. So again, really all things you work on in the after school setting, but that would also be very much supported by the SEL, including SEL components in your program. And so again, when we think about the types of ways that we meet students' needs, in a foundational way, there's that professional development for your staff, and then anybody that's coming in and helping family school partnerships. So an example for that would be I'm volunteering at a Camp Catch Up this summer, and we just had this past weekend a training on supporting LGBTQ plus students before we go, so that we all have a foundational knowledge of that. So that's an example of a professional development, but you could simply do that with SEL as well. And really the Castle website has tons of videos and trainings on doing those sorts of things, but also I'll provide you in the link into the slides, has all of that as well. And then the tier 1 is just really that promotion of positive social, emotional, and behavioral skills for overall wellness for everyone. So that's an all inclusion sort of activity. So everyone gets those tier 1 supports. And then tier 2 supports are early intervention for students who need additional support. So that really the calming corner is kind of really that tier 2 support. And then tier 3 is really for students who have serious need more like really personalized, individualized supports for more serious concerns, like behavioral challenges. So the calming corner, although a great probably tier 1 support, isn't going to likely do the job for kids needing those tier 3 supports. And then overall, the key trauma-informed SEL practices include developing predictable routines, building those strong and supportive relationships, which is oftentimes what your staff are doing every day, empowering student agency, supporting the development of those self-regulation skills, and then opportunities to explore individual and community identities. So having those different speakers come in and talk about different variety of different ethnic backgrounds, cultures, experiences, and giving students access to that helps them to expand their identity and even their just knowledge about others. So in the chat, how do you currently promote SEL in your program, if you do, that you feel like has been beneficial? And if you don't, oh, the kernels. Yes, I can't wait to see that data, the SEL kernels information. Yep, that's great. So there's a lot of different opportunities, and I have some of those linked up too here. I'll get to that. But really, I want to make sure I include time for this, but implementing a calming cart into your program, the goal of doing that would really be to provide kids with that space where they feel safe to recognize and regulate their emotions in a healthy way. So they know that they can go there, and because I know a lot of schools do check in, check out, or less mindfulness practices. Those are all great. And sometimes kids don't want to self-identify in front of everybody else as far as like if they're a 1 on a scale of 1 to 5. So this is one of the opportunities where kids can go to that safe space. And when I did this presentation actually at the in February at the 21st Century Conference, I was really impressed to see how many after school program staff actually had either a separate room or a really pretty separate space where kids could go to do kind of debrief or have a timeout. Yeah, and I like that, Scott, that everyone has a story to tell. Yeah, and we all have mental health, and we really need to support our mental health just as much as we think about supporting physical health as well. So that's great. So ideally you have some sort of set aside space available, but in all after school programs I worked in LPS, we would have never had the luxury to have an entire space, but literally maybe just a corner or a cart. And if you have the opportunity to have like a beanbag in that space, I think that's a really a best practice, something that's actually has a calming effect on students. So those are really great. But I also, whatever, if you only have a space for a cart where kids can kind of go and do some activities to calm down and get themselves back in line and check their emotions, that's fine too. So also the calming cart, they is designated really again with that mindfulness. So some of you mentioned mindfulness as an important piece, and then because it does need a little bit of training with the kids, and there's a flyer included in the materials you'll get. But there it talks about talking to the students about when you go there, you're not just there to do the coloring or play with the goop tube or whatever, but like really doing a check-in with themselves, and then also at the end of their 5 minutes or whatever you predetermine to sort of check in again and see where they're at, and do they need to talk to an adult. Sometimes just going there might be all that somebody needs after maybe a not great end of the day, but sometimes they might need to talk to one of the staff too. And so again, making sure that we talk about our emotions and not just ignoring them. Especially with, I mean, I have boys. I know that in the past, you're sort of, they're not supposed to cry or be upset, or they're just supposed to deal with it. And so learning that we all have emotions and that's okay to talk about it is an important skill. So we are now to the our kind of our instructions that you will use for the calming cart. So this is just an example of some supplies. What I'll send you is a variety of things, and you certainly are welcome to add to the calming cart the things that you feel like would be the most beneficial. This isn't actually what you're getting. This is a picture of the social worker that helped make this PowerPoint, which she used for her calming cart at her house. So kids are instructed to listen to their body and their mind, and then kind of identify an emotion. And this is actually, we tried to make this sort of middle school friendly so that you could use it for younger kids, but also up through 8th grade. And so our initial one was pretty elementary based. So this one is the modified middle school appropriate one. And then kids are instructed to walk over to the calm cart or corner, and then set a timer for 5 minutes. So however you want to do that, if someone does that on their phone or things like that, or even if you have an old-fashioned timer, then they can choose from the activities that either I'll send you or you can add. Like I did have in February some of the stability balls, but I don't have those anymore because they didn't send me enough because of all the supply shortage things. So then they can pick from about 10 different things. They can do some breathing. I have a link in here for some mindfulness cards. They can stretch, they can count in their head, they can color. And then here's an example of all the different things. We have a puzzle. There's some clay that they can use. I'll send you headphones, but that only is helpful if you have something for them to plug it into. But a lot of schools have extra iPads now and stuff, so maybe you can have one of those in the spaces. A stress ball, and one of these ooze tubes. And then I know some kids really enjoy reading, and that's one of their ways that they can calm down as well. So then step 5 is check in with their feelings and emotions. Are they calm? Do they need more time? If they maybe need more time, or maybe do they need to talk to an adult? So they can kind of take note of how they're feeling, and you can instruct them on if you're a 1 through 4, return to activities, and then if you're 5 through 10, then talk to an adult, or whatever. And then step 6 is just simply to rejoin friends and continue on with activities if you're calm. So those are the instructions for the kits. But then we also know that for this to really work effectively, staff also need to be able to recognize when they also are having a challenging day. So this slide and the links here have resources for self-care for your staff. Because a lot of your staff are part-time, they're really going between multiple different jobs and situations and experiences. And so this slide and the links here are really nice because they allow your staff to kind of do some of those things too, and have a tap in, tap out strategy. So if there is just a time where someone's not able to manage things well, they can tell someone else, hey, I can't deal with this kid right now. I just don't have the patience. So does anybody have any questions about the calm down card or anything? I have a little reflection slide in here, but also I want to make sure we have time to answer any questions you have. And we have the perfect number of people, so you will all get a cart or a kit for the calm down cart. This slide has additional resources. This out of school time wellness policy guide, although you're not required to have a wellness policy, of course, it just gives a lot of ideas for like that whole, like the whole child wellness. So I just put the link into that building social emotional learning guide. And then this, I'll just go here. I like these for the younger kids too. They're a nice, this will also be in your materials that you get. This link on the front here has actually mindful breathing exercises, but then there's also just some things your staff can just pull out of the materials and just help everybody. Sometimes you can sense it's sort of a collective bad day, and sometimes doing some of these is really helpful. And I will even say, like, when I go to conferences and we do these at the start of a session, I know that I'm more connected and focused on the presenter because you're, again, going from 100 places and thinking about 100 things. These are really helping to focus. And so these are beneficial. But I wanted to make sure I share the slides with everyone, since I know I don't have everybody.
Jessie, I'm not sure how it works. If people view the recording, will they be able to access hot links while watching the
I mean, I
recording?
guess, do you put hot links on the website, or after, like, where the recording is linked up, or no?
We can do that. I
Okay.
just wasn't sure if people would be able to click and I'm in a recording. It didn't seem
No.
like that would
No,
work.
I don't. No, I don't think so.
Okay, so maybe you can help us identify the most useful ones. We'll post those on the Stay Connected site.
Well, if you just do all the slides, then they would have all the links to everything.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
And then I didn't have time for this, but these were slides that I included when I presented in February. And so these are actually just more information about those 5 signature principles of providing SEL strategies within your out of school setting. So like this one's creating predictable routines. So it gives actual strategies to try. So there's 5 slides with that content, as well as many more resources in there as well. So that's why there's so many links. It's just going to be better for for it to be linked up there. But so you will get some supplies. These instructions will be printed, these particular instructions on slides 13 through 17, or no, 13 through 19, so that you can just use those if you want to laminate them or whatever for your cart, or to train your kids on how to utilize the materials on the cart. Then you'll have access to all that. Some of you are getting to do it right now. So
there's also a really good site at University of California, Berkeley, has what's called the Greater Good Science Center. Mm-hmm. And I've actually done some week-long academies there for SEL. And I don't have that website handy, but you can check in. And they send a newsletter that I subscribe to, and it always has a really good information. That's Greater Good Science Center at UC Berkeley.
Yes. And then the other, I just put this in the chat as well, but the Building Social Emotional Skills with Harmony SEL. This is a really great program, free for you all to access. And I am not sure if you have to create a free account to get in there or not. Some of the Action Alliance for Healthier Generation, some of it's free access and some of it makes you sign in or create a free account. But these are also really great resources and guides to help you set up an SEL structure within your after school program. So, and then Sandra, did you say that we need to collect addresses from anyone else?
I believe we have 12 people on who are representing after school programs today, but I only have 8 people who have put their address in the chat. So if you are here today from an after school program and would like to receive one of Jessie's kits, we need a mailing address in the chat so she can send it to you. Thanks, Jessie.
You're welcome.
Barbara, I was going to ask if you have a link you could put in the chat for the resource from UC Berkeley that you were sharing.
Let me see if I can find it, and I will.
Thank you. And then I wanted to remind people how they can save the chat. So you have all of these links on your computer. So if you go down to the box at the bottom of the chat, if you open the chat icon, there's 3 dots on the right side. And if you click on the 3 dots, one of your options is save the chat, and that'll save it to your computer. So all of you will have all of the links that Jessie posted, and we will post her slides along with the recording too.
Jessie, there's a question in the chat about whether a PO box will work or if they need a street address for FedEx or UPS delivery.
I think the PO box will work. I'm pretty sure it will. We send stuff to PO boxes from the NDE all the time. I know some other organizations can't, but we can. And I did find that link. I just put it in the chat as well. That Greater Good from UC Berkeley. It's a wide variety of resources for both staff and for students. Oh, she found one too. So
thank you. Wow, Jessie, I can't believe all that you jam-packed into 30 minutes for us.
I know.
All the information. We could process all of this and spend several hours just reviewing all of the resources you shared. So we really appreciate it. And thank you so much for sharing kits. That's very generous of you. Make sure your address is in the chat so we can find you and get those mailed out. Wonderful content, great information. Really appreciate it, Jessie.
Yes, I'm saving the chat so I can get that.
And I am too.
Sandra, are you saving the chat too in case I somehow lose this?
I have it, and I think I'll
Okay.
get it.
I will save it too, because some people have shared it with me directly just to make sure that we have all of
good.
the addresses.
Very
I don't
good.
have an address for Shelby, Crystal, or Andrea. If you are interested in getting those kits and you represent an after-school program, get them in the chat before you leave.
Crystal has one in there. Maybe she just put it in a minute ago, so you might have missed that
Okay.
one. From Fairbury, is that what you were saying?
Okay.
Yep.
And I won't end the meeting until, Sandra, you have everything you need. Wow, thank you so much. I did want to mention that our May 19th Stay Connected webinar, so we have these the first and third Thursdays of each month. The next one on May 19th is going to be focused on entrepreneurship and after school, and this is to help you be prepared for the upcoming after school conference where we'll have an entrepreneurship strand, and we want your students to be able to participate if interested. So join us on May 19th. Does anybody have any other questions for Jessie or?
This is Aaron Weiner. Excuse me. If anybody wants to stay on after, if it's possible, I could provide a little description of the mindfulness and SEL opportunities that we're going to sponsor this summer at the Joy Howling Retreat Center.
Okay, I'll leave the meeting open. Do you want that to be part of the recording, Aaron?
Sure.
Okay.
I don't know.
Where's this at, Kim? What retreat center is this?
So this will be at the Joy Howling Retreat Center,
Oh, okay.
June 20th to the 23rd. There's kind of a variety of options, and if anybody's interested, I'd be glad to kind of give you an overview and send you a save the date.
That would be near Ashland for those of
Oh,
you
I was gonna
in the
ask.
western part of the state.
Thank you. Thanks, Aaron. Well, thank you, everyone, especially Jessie, and we appreciate those of you who shared additional resources and information, and we'll stay on for a few more minutes with Aaron. And Sandra, do you have what you need from everybody before people leave the meeting?
I have the chat saved, so if you've got your address in there, I've got it.
Okay. I'm going to save it again. Wonderful. All right. Well, thanks, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. This was a great session. Aaron, we'll let you talk for a minute about your upcoming PD.
Well, thanks everybody. So I'm with a nonprofit out of Omaha here called Wisdom House Collaborative. And our mission is to cultivate mindfulness within the community. We've had the good fortune of working a lot with educators here, beginning with Lewis and Clark in particular, and several of the other schools in the after-school program as well. And so through all of that, I've been introduced to the ruler framework and some of these SEL practices like a mood meter, the class charter, the meta moment. These sorts of things mesh very well with our mindfulness curriculum that we get from Mindful Schools. And so part of what we've been doing as a nonprofit is trying to provide Mindful Schools education to folks who are interested, and which is an online program that we could talk more about. But this summer on June 20 and 21, and I can email sort of a description. So Google designed a mindfulness program for its leadership, and they spun it off into something they call Search Inside Yourself as a brand. So the way they teach mindfulness is actually like an SEL class, but rather than the circular model, it's at the bottom is mindfulness. And with the mindfulness comes self-awareness, and with the self-awareness comes self-management. And with the self-management becomes more mindful communication. And with that, you have better teams. So that's why Google was using it. They were training their leadership to be better listeners and more sharing in teams and having people feel safe in teams. They find that those teams are the most creative and productive. So that's a 2-day training led by a guy named David Fringer, who was out of the Council Bluffs School District and now working for the state of Iowa, IT. And then the next day will be kind of a mindfulness and education day. And I'll be given the presentation on what is mindfulness that I give at the State High School Counselor Academy last 5 years. And then we'll sort of proceed to kind of go through the different things that we do in after school program. Like here's some of the activities we do and how we relate it. And then for those who just want a silent retreat day, the following day we'll have just a day of guided silent practices. And in the evenings we'll have campfires and s'mores and mindful walks. And so the second 2 days are really going to be intended just to be an open house. Come sample, take a nap, walk around, enjoy the food, come for the evening if you want, and just meet people that have similar interests and practices. But I'm definitely interested in getting leadership to the 2-day Search Inside Yourself, and we're able to offer that for free. And if anybody needs help, the lodging and meals currently are extra, but if anybody needs help with that, we'd be glad to find sponsors, I think. So yeah, Ashland by Mahoney, by the SAC Museum, there's the Joy Holling Retreat Center.
You picked a great location. It's a beautiful spot and good food.
Yeah, so we've done this Search Inside Yourself thing twice last year for Heartland Family Service and all its project leaders. We had 50 project leaders enjoy the training. Council Bluffs School District has done it several times. So it's just a handy way to kind of get an introduction to mindfulness and see how it, I think for all these SEL folks, you'll see how it relates to SEL in a foundational way, not just a little bubble over here, but foundational to the rest of it. Yeah, we're putting it together. So we do have an email that's sort of my save to date email that love it if people want to share that with anybody who might be interested. So my email is up above there and I can put it in here one more time. And yeah, what I'm not good at is technology. So I'm waiting for our daughter to come home from college and set up the registration and the rest of it. But I'm just going to do emails for now. And if anybody's interested, just let me know and I'll make sure we get back in touch. But I would like the statewide educators in SEL, if they're interested in particular, to take this opportunity to kind of see how they mesh. And maybe have a PD self-care day to boot, if that works out.
I wish I had known. In fact, just right today, I made the reservation on Amtrak. We're going to take Amtrak out to New York because my grandson's graduating kindergarten. So we'll be leaving on those days, and his graduation is the 24th. But I would definitely like to share this information so that others are aware that this is available.
Yeah, absolutely. Email me. I'll send you kind of what I've got so far, and you can feel free to share it. And I want to make this an annual event. Next year, we invited him this year. His name is Oren Sofer, and he teaches mindful communications for mindful schools. He's a internationally known nonviolent communication leader, and they're having a baby this summer. So he said he couldn't come, but he's coming for 2 days next summer. So I want to build on this and have an annual mindfulness and SEL retreat campsite open house. I mean, I want it to feel casual to people. Come and enjoy it. The Search Inside Yourself is a 2-day thing that builds on itself. But other than that, I just would invite people who are interested in education and mindfulness and SEL to come and share space and walk around the lake and enjoy a campfire, however it turns out. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Yeah, thanks for sharing and for your work. Thanks, everybody.